Hi, Annalisa Six here with your February 2023 horoscope for the sun sign and rising sign of Gemini. Let's get right into it. Okay, Gemini, you have had a rough time with Mars retrograde through your sign up until the first couple of weeks of January. And now we're starting February out completely retrograde free. Mercury, your sign, your ruling planet is direct finally and out of the shadow period. Mars is now, for the month of February, making its way through Gemini, no retrogrades. And so while we still have, some combative energy in Gemini having Mars there, it's still better than what it's been like. So I'm excited for you. I apologize in advance for not speaking as eloquently as I would like to. I am pretty burnt out and tired, and my body is in a lot of pain right now, and I'm just trying to get through this. Okay, so let's talk about where Mars has been. So Mars has been since, okay, let's look and see when Mars actually entered, when it entered your sign, because it's been a long time that we've had it here. So August 20th of 2022 is when Mars entered your sign. And so this has a big effect on your identity and the way that you're putting yourself out there, but more of your personal relationship to how you're putting yourself out there, not necessarily how others are receiving you, although I'm sure that's been part of it too for you. Those things tend to come together. But Mars, entered Gemini, made its way through to about 25 degrees of Gemini. So it was barely almost done in Gemini, and then it stationed retrograde at the end of October. So October 30th is when it stationed retrograde, and then it went direct on January 12th. So we enter February with Mars at 10 degrees of Gemini, and it's actually going to make its way until the 18th degree of Gemini. Mars is still going to be in Gemini until about March. March is the month where we start to see a lot of this energy that we've just had for a long time move into new signs. And so we're kind of going through in February, like the last bits of the sign. And for Mars, I mean, it's not really the last bits until March. It's like the middle bits. And the middle bits, they're not called bits, they're called degrees. The middle degrees of a sign tend to be some of the hardest, where we learn some of the most challenging lessons. And so Mars is going to be at one of the more difficult degree points again on the 18th of February, which is the 15th degree point. And it's going to stay there for a few days. The last time that Mars was at that degree point of Gemini, let's see. I am looking here, and it was in September. So September 18th and 19th was the last time that we had Mars at this degree point. And so I would like you to think back to that time, middle of September, and see what was going on for yourself during then. Were you working through anything? Were you having any conflict in yourself about anything? Have you been working through feelings of self-worth and your own thoughts about yourself? Those are themes that come up for this horoscope quite a bit. And those are things that you're hopefully going to start gaining more momentum around, but that you might be kind of reliving or refeeling for the month of February. So that's something to really be cognizant of and ask yourself, because out of all the signs, we've all been going through this Gemini Mars cycle. And we each can do this. We each can look back to when Mars was at 15 degrees, but because you are a Gemini, it influences you on such a personal level, right? Having sun and rising in the sign of Gemini. And so this is important for you to kind of see that full growth, because this is the last pass that Mars is going to do. And it hopefully sheds some light on, from that point to this point, what have I been working through? And do I feel like I'm starting to see the full picture of what it was I was going through? Let's get to your ruling planet, Mercury. So Mercury in Capricorn, Mercury, has been in Capricorn for a while too, because it had a retrograde cycle through Capricorn. And we enter the month with Mercury at 17 degrees Capricorn, and it's going to be in Capricorn until the 11th. And then it'll make its way into the sign of Aquarius. And this Capricorn energy is a really good time for you to be evaluating what your belief systems are, both spiritually and also your worldview and the way that you connect to the worldview and belief system of others. It's common for Gemini to have an open mind and to be very interested in learning. But it's also really common for Gemini to feel intellectually superior and become a little bit more closed-minded to new information once they have their minds made up about something. It's a little more true for signs like Aquarius and Libra than Gemini, because you're mutable, you're more adaptable, you're more analytical. But Geminis can be, you know, kind of in their thoughts in the capacity where the thoughts are always changing. There's a lot of overthinking, but at any given moment, you think that that thought is the one. And so you have to remember that about yourself. You're mutable. You change your mind a lot, and that's okay. But it's good to be in that space of evaluating kind of whether or not the beliefs that you've had are congruent still, or something that you still believe in, and that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to kind of move into a new phase. I don't feel like Gemini has too much of a hard time with that, but it might be something worth reflecting on while Mercury is moving through Capricorn for where it is. Once Mercury moves into Aquarius, it's going to be kind of elevating your communication in your career and your work life. And so that's something that is positive for you. You might feel like there's some conversations or some things that need to happen that you maybe haven't had the words for during the retrogrades, and maybe that's all opening up now. Connecting with people is also really positive for you during that time, especially in a work oriented, like around work subjects. So if you are networking or things like that for your job, that's also very supported in February. Jupiter is still going to be passing through Aries. And so where this is happening for you is in the social area of the chart. And so you're going to probably want to connect with people and be a little bit more social for the first part of February. And then towards the end of February, you might be making your way into kind of feeling a little bit of a need to pull back. But with Venus entering Aries at the end of the month, which happens on the 20th, that also enhances your social circle. Like you're just going to want to connect more with people that you enjoy spending time with. So it might be a very social and busy month for you, having Jupiter and Venus, especially at the end of the month, being in that social area of the chart. This is a really good time for you to spend a lot of time connecting with people that fill your cup and make you feel whole inside. Let's see. We have the moon. So I'm going to go ahead and just start talking about our full moon and new moon for you. So we have a full moon at, let's see here, 16 degrees of Leo on February 5th. And that is actually a really, really positive time for you to start focusing on your routines, your daily routines. I have a lot of Gemini dominant people in my life that are really good at doing the things that they enjoy doing, but not necessarily following a structure or a rhythm with it. And of course, it depends on the person, right? It depends on your personal birth chart. But if you're a Gemini dominant person that lacks a lot of earth energy, structure and stability might not be your strong suit. Daily routine and sticking to something might not be totally your strong suit. And so it's actually, this full moon's a really good time to set intentions around manifesting more structure and daily routine into your life. It's in Leo, which has to do with self-expression and finding joy in it. So, you know, structure doesn't have to feel restrictive. And I think that was a lesson for me that I had to learn in life that was really empowering, because I remember I used to see stability and structure in this very mundane, boring way. And it felt almost like it would inhibit me from having freedom. And if anything, I feel like it's done the opposite. I actually, when I have things structured and planned and routine, I actually feel like I have more freedom, because I'm not stressing out about all of the things that I'm not getting done because I lack structure, right? It's less chaotic. And so I think it's good for you during this full moon, with where it's hitting in the Gemini chart, to reflect on your relationship with your daily routine, how you express yourself within that, and being creative with it in a way that doesn't have to feel mundane or boring. It can be whatever it means to you, but something that's empowering you out of the mindset that creating stability or a routine that's healthy is somehow limiting, because that's not necessarily true. Later on in the month, on February, let's see, I'm looking at the wrong thing. 20th, we have a new moon at 1 degree Pisces. And so Pisces makes a square to Gemini. Mutable signs square each other, and squares create tension. And for some people, if you're a Gemini with Pisces in your chart, you're probably going to really love the new moon. It's going to feel really, it's going to get you into that imagination and kind of connecting to music and art and things that you like. But if you're a Gemini where the spiritual aspect of yourself and your life, you're a little bit more disconnected from, a Pisces new moon can feel really intense, and it can be almost something that you reject because you're like, why do I feel so much? Why do I feel so emotional? And even Gemini dominants that have Pisces in their chart can sometimes overthink or overanalyze their feelings, and Pisces just feels. So it's good to let yourself on the new moon just feel. We enter Pisces on the 19th of the month, and that new moon is a great time for you to set intentions around whatever you have been kind of not allowing yourself to be open to, especially when it comes to your social world, your social circles. You're going to feel elevated socially around this time and probably feel a deep need to connect with others during this time too. But it's important that you learn to fill your own cup in that way and be vulnerable and open with your feelings. That can be a really positive thing. Let's see what else is going on here. I'm not going to get into the outer planets. I've already decided, because I went into those more for the February 2023 synopsis. And so this is a great month, just kind of in summary, for you to focus on communication and work, focus on connecting with friends that you care about, learning to lean into your feelings and have fun with it, and setting intentions around cultivating more joy in your daily routine, and seeing structure and routine as something that can be joyful and not limiting or restrictive. So that is a big theme for you this month. Overall, this should be a really positive month for you now that we've moved out of retrograde season. And I wish you all of the good fortune and blessings for the month of February.